I'd like to move a motion that staff be directed to present to Council the draft 2016 budget using the 2014 rate of inflation, average of 2.4%. If I can have a seconder, that would be great.
Okay, it's been seconded by Councillor Billings. Any discussion, or did you have?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, thank you through you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to speak about predictability and fixation on the starting point, actually. I think that's an important debate. I heard that come up. So I've done some digging since the last budget, and obviously I'm coming prepared. I'm not coming to just wing it here tonight, but I want to talk about a few studies I've found. A 2013 study was posted in the Globe and Mail by the General Accountants Association of Canada. Found that 1/3 of Canadian households are now living paycheck to paycheck. I don't think that's news to many people. A second, more recent study, though, out of Princeton in the U.S. mirrored the findings of this study. 1/3 of American households are living paycheck to paycheck. But in fact, 60% of that most vulnerable population in the States, 60% are in fact in the process of or do own their home. What they're calling this is this illiquid wealth in our households today. So when it comes to Guelph, if we correlate that back to our city, 30% equates to about 16,500 vulnerable households that we would consider living paycheck to paycheck. To which is plausible that approximately maybe even as many as 11,000 are in this demographic where they are trying to own their home or pay down their home while still living paycheck to paycheck. These people, I think it's important to note, they're not what we consider wealthy. They own their homes, they're in the process of owning homes, but they don't, as we call wealthy, they don't necessarily own stocks, bonds, RRSPs, long-term savings, an indexed pension from their company. They have what we call illiquid wealth, wealth that's not readily transformed into cash to cover offsetting impacts or rate of inflation. And these families are actually the ones that are most vulnerable in our city to spikes in inflation and spikes to taxes. So I'm here speaking on behalf of them. We have a lot in Ward 1. To bring this further closer home, I want to reference a last study by the Bank of England. Findings that took this step one step further, and this report concluded that this demographic, this specific demographic that's trying to pay for their home as their only long-term source of investment, security for old age, their retirement plan, these people are the most vulnerable when it comes to spikes in inflation and spikes in taxation, and they are the most vulnerable when it comes to taking away their free money, because they really don't have much. Economists in this paper drew a straight line, not a dotted line, not a maybe if or the end, a straight line to local economic output. They spoke about things like spending in the local economy, restaurateurs, retail, property maintenance, services, home improvements, contracting services, financial advisors. All of these types of businesses are exposed when this specific demographic is hit with unexpected increases in inflation and unexpected tax increases. These are the vulnerable in our community. They are the ones that are trying to pay for their home and are not able to absorb big increases. So getting to the point of where we're starting from in predictability, councillors, I'm going to urge you to gauge acceptable taxation simply against what the housing market is doing or what the average household income is or what they can afford, I believe is disingenuous to this population, this demographic that's in our city. I don't believe it supports them. I don't believe it supports those who are looking to retire in this city, raise families in this city, start their careers in Guelph. And while some will say that tax increases sustain services and protect the most vulnerable, I would argue that for this 2/3 of the most vulnerable in our city that are trying to pay for their home, above inflation tax increases do more harm than good. These are my concerns. I've got more to offer. Hopefully we can have good, lively debate. I'm happy to give my references to anyone who would like them. But I want to leave it at this, and this is where I'm kind of drawing a line in the sand for myself, and I've heard it a lot since the budget was passed, and it did hurt me personally, because I know who I'm speaking on behalf of. There are those in our community that are equating tax increases of 3.5% to a couple extra cups of coffee a month for them. And I'm going to draw a line in the sand for those people, because I really think that that's a little bit disingenuous to the people that really can't afford it. that really aren't able to absorb those types of tax increases and who are seeing the $350, $400, $450 increases every year. They don't know where that money's coming from. And I really am speaking on behalf of that demographic that I know exists in my ward and across the city. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll leave it at that.